Hello guys, it's Monica here. We're gonna go to Joy Fabrics and Craft. So we're gonna go there to get some patterns. I'm gonna show you how to select your patterns. Okay, let's go. Hello friends, Monica Bray here, your host. Today it's all about patterns. Why do you need patterns for? A lot of people are learning how to sew their own dresses. And trust me, it's not easy because I've been trying to show my daughter how to just sew a straight line. I'm telling you, she messed it up. She couldn't do it, just sewing a straight line on a sewing machine. It turns out to be very challenging. I had to redo the whole thing that she did. So it's not easy. So that's why when you start sewing for the first time, you are a first timer, you should use patterns. It's a very important topic. Where to get them, how to find them, and how to use them. Because if you are a beginner, someone who just starts sewing her own dresses, I strongly recommend the use of patterns. So to begin with, I wanted to show you guys the many ways I get patterns, and it's going to be interesting. So if where you live in your neighborhood, in maybe the mall or someplace else, you have a fabric store, go visit the fabric store because most of them sell patterns. I love patterns. I like precision. You can do something, draw something directly or make your own pattern. It's fine, but I prefer to rely on pattern designed by professionals. So I just love using patterns. But they don't come cheap, They don't come cheap. So I'm going to talk today about a lot of things covering all kinds of areas regarding patterns. First of all, I went to a fabric store early this week to buy some patterns, but I only came out with one of them. Why? Because of the price. Oh my goodness. The Vogue patterns, the Simplicity patterns, they were just expensive. They're like, each one of them is like somewhere between $25 to $30, Who can do that? You buy one pattern with all the fabrics that I have. You can't always rely on patterns. At some point, you have to go to something else to know how to cut your fabric. But today specifically, we are talking about patterns. We are not going to cut patterns today, or we are not going to draw patterns on those muslins or maybe the transparent paper. Today we're just talking about how to get your patterns. Where do you go to get them? And how do you know which one to get? What is your size? Because sometimes people overlook the sizes, and then you come home, you draw your patterns, and then you cut your fabric and sew it only to realize that you saw something that doesn't fit you because you got the wrong size of the pattern. So while choosing your patterns, you have to pay attention to a few things. First of all, your size. What size do you wear? And look at the back of the pattern to see if your size is indicated there. Let me wear my glasses so I can show you correctly. Yeah. So like for instance, this one, it says sizes right there. Sizes. Yeah, you have the sizes there. It says size 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. And then it also puts it in European sizes, 34, 36, 38, 40, 42, 44. So you look at that first before you buy any pattern. You look at that. If you don't see your size there, don't buy it. For instance, this one here, for instance, look at this one. This one I bought for my daughter. And this one is only size 10. I'm size 14. So this is not for me. Okay, so the next thing you have to look at is the price. Usually the price is on the upper left of the patterns. This is a Vogue pattern. So the price, the price is right there. See here in the upper left, the price is right there. And in US dollars, it's $30. Just this one pattern, $30. And in Canadian, it's 33 Canadian dollars. And then, as I said, you have to look if your size is listed there. If your size is not listed, don't buy it. If you are a first-time user, don't buy it. So what I'll say about a pattern, usually they put all kinds of information regarding how to make your dress. So even if you don't know how to make your dress, there will be like a walkthrough throughout the side of a pattern to tell you, okay, you have to link this point A to this point C, or etc., etc., and you will know how to put your pieces that you cut together. This pattern only has one dress. It will be easier to not cut the pattern, but because you see the way it's presented. Let me open this. It has lines. Usually patterns have lines. See, it has all kinds of lines. You can see the lines here. Yeah, look at that. You can see the lines. So what you do, because the lines mix all over the place, so you can't just cut one thing and hoping that the other thing will remain intact. You actually have to follow the lines, and then you have to use another paper to put on top of your patterns. First of all, you have, I think, you see it's all wrinkled. So first of all, you will need to iron your pattern to make it straight. And then after you iron it, you put it on a table, usually a big table, like a rectangular table. And you put your pattern there. And then you take a paper that is transparent, usually large papers. They sell large pattern papers. Yeah, you take one of those and you put it on top of the pattern and start drawing those lines on your paper. Don't cut your dress directly into the patterns. You might miss some of the elements of the patterns because they are all interconnected. So that's why sometimes you have different lines or the numbers that will show you how to connect them. So the advantage of just having one thing is just so that you're not confused when you are cutting your pattern. So today we're not going to cut a pattern. Next episode, certainly we will cut a pattern just to show you. And this one, as I said, it's just one thing. But this one, for instance, you see this new look pattern. It has 1, 2, 3, 4 variations of the same dress, which means there will be certainly about 4 patterns there, and the lines will be crossing all over the place. So there will be different colors for the lines. But you'll figure it out. Once we do it once, it will be easier to figure out what these things are. So let's go back to where you get your pattern. So you can get them in different ways. The first thing, if you don't like shopping in person, you can buy your patterns online. And usually where I go to Amazon. You go to Amazon, you can even put some keywords there in your search just to narrow the search, saying patterns for dresses or patterns for pants for women or something like that. And then there will be some results, and then you select whatever you want to select, you fulfill the sale, and a few days later your pattern shows up. But The second way to get your pattern is to go to a fabric store. And that's what I did. And guys who follow me when I went to the fabric store, I ended up buying more fabrics instead of buying pattern. I just got one pattern, but I bought more fabrics. So your patterns comes with a lot of information. Look here, for instance, beside the drawings, the pattern itself usually comes with something like this. See here, this is information about, once you have all the pieces cut, you've drawn your pattern on your own transparent paper, and you have all the pieces, your account for all the pieces. For instance, here for this simple dress, so these are all the pieces. It has about 6 pieces. You account for them, you know that you have all of them, and then it will be very easy to sew because it shows you how to sew them here. You can sew, but if, for instance, in case you have doubt about what you are doing, every pattern always comes with some directions. This is pretty cool. And also it gives you information about how much material you need, like how many yards you need, what kind of accessories you need for the dress. For instance, you can have lining, some of, like, for instance, if you're doing a suit, for instance, you'll need stuff like some other fabrics like fusible, and you'll need zippers or buttons. So all that information will be there also. And it will also have the information about the exact yardage that you need for the dress, depending on your size. So look at all those information before you buy your fabric. So I guess what comes first is the patterns. Once you like a dress on your pattern, you read the information on it so that you know how much material you need to buy, like how many yards for the fabric, how many yards for the lining or the fusible material, what's the length of the zipper, or what kind of buttons you should buy, and all that kind of stuff. You will have all the information in your patterns. So guys, you can follow me when I go into that store and see what I did. But last thing, how do you get the patterns once you are into the store? What I did is self-explanatory, but I'm going to explain how I found the patterns that I like in the catalog, because you can go look into those file cabinets that are designed specifically for patterns, but then it's just time consuming. It's easier to start with the catalog. And where I was, they had catalogs for Simplicity, McCall's, Vogue, and a few others. And I was looking into a Vogue catalog and I found something that I liked. So with that, what you do, you look for the number of the patterns. For instance, here, this one says Vogue 1267. So in the Vogue catalog, this same number will be there on top of this dress. So once you determine that that's what you want, then you go to the file cabinets. And usually there are numbers in front of each drawer. Look at your number. Usually it will say from 1000 to 1300, and then from 1301 to 2000, for instance. So, and then you pull that drawer that has the number that you're looking for. You pull the drawer and there will be a bunch of patterns there, and they are sorted by numbers, and then you just look through them, and then you find your pattern number. You find your pattern, and you just pull it from that drawer and walk to the counter, the cashier, and you buy it. Voila. So that's what I did early this week. I went to a fabric store, walked in, bought one pattern, and then I just, since I can't resist beautiful fabrics, especially when they are on sale, I found a few beautiful pieces, and I ended up getting out of the store with a $32 pattern, but $175 worth of fabrics. But they're gorgeous. I'll show you next time. I hope this information is useful, but if you still have questions about how and where to get your patterns, how to find the right one for you, please leave me a message below in the comment section. But before you go, please, please, please like my video, give me a thumbs up, give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe, because if you subscribe, you won't miss any episode. This is just getting started. It's gonna get even more interesting once I start sewing based on the patterns. And if you can follow, I'll do a simple dress so that you guys can see that anyone can do a simple dress. So please, please, please subscribe so that you don't miss any of my releases. So until next week, goodbye. Nice jumpsuit, right? Nightgowns. Oh, wedding dresses. Oh, no, I didn't find what I needed here. Let's see this one.